G'day legends, Blake here with another video, and today I want to give you 10 species of tetras that you probably haven't heard of before to send you down a whole new rabbit hole of fish keeping. So let's jump straight into the video. So the inspiration for this video came from my work at the Aquarium Society of Victoria, the club that I'm on the committee of, and we're setting up a breeding challenge at the moment. So to get started, I'll show you the species that we're going to use for that challenge, and that is the bleeding blue tetra. The bleeding blue tetra comes from slow-moving waters out of South America, specifically around Peru. And as with most tetras, you're going to want to keep them in groups of 10 or more because they exhibit great shoaling behavior, and it's going to give them the most confidence so that you can see them and enjoy them to your best ability. In terms of pH, anything between a 5 to 7 for these guys, and temperature-wise, around the mid-20s in the Celsius or the upper 70s in the Fahrenheit. Specifically around 24 to 28 Celsius, 74 to 82 Fahrenheit, something like that. Latin name for these guys, because tetras do often have a whole number of common names in the trade, and often the same species will have 2 or 3 different common names. So for this one, it's Hyphesibrychon margitae. I'll put it on the screen because my pronunciation is probably horrendous. Overall, I reckon this one's a really unique one, and I'm definitely going to be part of the breeding challenge. So I'll be picking up 10 of these to show you a little bit more of soon, and hopefully a breeding video coming right up. The next one I thought of because I recently filmed a brilliant group of these in a display 9-foot aquarium on a tour video, but unfortunately I filmed a bunch of tours and my hard drive just died. I've taken it to some IT places, but they said that there's no recovery, so unfortunately I'll have to get back there and film it. But there was a brilliant group of diamond tetras in a beautiful big display tank, so of course they had to be on this list. Now, diamond tetras have an even more strange Latin name. I'm not even really going to try it. I'll just put it right there. But these guys get to a nice size, and at adult coloration, they're brilliant. They truly do shine like a diamond. They have these silver speckles kind of all over them, and they're like disco balls swimming around the tank. Again, the same sort of temperature range, 24 to 28 Celsius, 75 to 82 Fahrenheit. These guys will want more of a neutral pH though, 6 to 7.5, something like that. Diamond tetras come from the Orinoco Basin, Venezuela and Colombia in South America. And just like many fish on this list, pretty much all of them, they're an egg scatterer. So to spawn them, you need to collect the eggs and take them away. Otherwise, the parents will promptly eat them. So things like spawning mobs over some marbles or some knitting mesh and things like that that are going to protect the eggs after they fall down through whatever your spawning medium is going to be the best bet if you do want to breed them. But if you just want to keep them in a beautiful display tank, they're a great option for that as well. This next one has a really cool Latin name. It's Hyphesibrychon flammeus, the flame tetra, beautiful red tetra. Again, a nice kind of medium size. I'm kind of leaning towards the larger tetras for this list because I just think that they're a bit underappreciated. People always default to Rummynose, neons and other things like that, whereas these guys kind of get left behind just because they're a bit chunkier, so you can't always put them in a 60 centimeter or 2-foot aquarium. But the cool thing about flame tetras is that they can actually go cooler, which maybe contradicts them being a flame tetra, I guess, but they can go down from 16 to about low 20s in the Celsius, which is about 61, I think, to low 70s in the Fahrenheit. So a great option to keep unheated, at least through primarily the autumn and spring seasons. Maybe you need a little bit of a heater just to keep things moving in winter, depending on what climate you're in. And as far as where you can find them in the wild, because I do think it is important to research these things when you do want to keep a species, particularly if you want to breed them. They come from the coastal river areas of Rio de Janeiro, so again, still South America. A fun fact about these guys is that a female flame tetra can lay up to 200 to 300 eggs at once. So that's quite a bit of protein to scatter around. But again, you're going to have to separate those eggs from the parents, otherwise they will be promptly eaten. Third one are the blue Cotry tetra. I've kept and bred these guys before, and they're a really fun option. So these guys are a bit more of a torpedo shape rather than the more tall, wider sort of fish that we've mentioned so far. So if you are looking for that particular maybe Rummynose sort of shape to the fish, well, these guys could be an option, but they do have a brilliant blue sheen to them and a great unique color, which I reckon is great for a display tank. They can be kept on the cooler side as well, 22 to 28 degrees Celsius. So that's going to be anything in the 70s in terms of Fahrenheit. Again, they're sort of coming from that Rio, Nene, Colombia, Venezuela sort of area in South America. So right in amongst where all of these other species have sort of been found. And for breeding with these guys, it's quite different. Sometimes you'll find that they'll lay eggs on the underside of broadleaf plants. So they have more of an adhesive egg scattering property to them. So you will find that tetras will either have non-adhesive or adhesive eggs. And the Cotry Tetra are one that do like to stick their eggs to the underside of surfaces. So you might want to put a big pothos leaf, or whether it's an artificial leaf or not, across the top of your breeding area, and just check that diligently, because sometimes they will fall off and fall through a grate. So I like to have a big broad leaf over a grate, and that will give you best success for trying to raise these guys. But you will have to check the leaf regularly, because again, they are going to eat the eggs if they can. Next one on the list is another option we considered for the breeding challenge, and I think still a great option to keep if you can find them. It's the watermelon tetra, Hemigrammus ceruleus, something like that. Again, we'll put it on the screen. Very, very similar to all the other fish, so I'll skip over a lot of this, but they're from the Amazon basin in South America. pH-wise, 6 to 7.5. Temperature-wise, 22 to 27 Celsius, so anywhere in the 70s in Fahrenheit. Again, going to exhibit nice shoaling behavior, a nice size as far as tetras are concerned, so I think they'd be a great option in the middle of the water column of around about a 3 foot to 4 foot aquarium, or a 90 centimeter to 120 centimeter aquarium. Great in a planted display tank and show great coloration once again. Next one on the list has a really unique look to them. They're called the bleeding heart tetra, and they're called that for a reason, because they look like they have a little heart on them ready to pop out of their little chest. So really, really cool. Even as adults, they maintain that. It's not like some fish where they have like a Tropheus or something, where they have a different patterning from juvenile to older. The males definitely have more of a heart than some of the females though. But again, beautiful big size to them. Really, really cool markings. For a non-fish keeper to see a fish cruising around with a heart on them, I think it's kind of a bit unique, a bit something different. So that's definitely why I had to include them on the list. And often, I guess as far as this list is concerned, these are going to be one of the species that are more commonly available than others. So maybe you have kept them, but I think a lot of people are like me, where we've often thought about it, but chosen something else instead. So I'm going to rally now and suggest it's time to start keeping bleeding heart tetras. A bit more of a narrow temperature spectrum for these guys. They really want 24 to 28 Celsius, which I think is about 74 to 78 Fahrenheit. And they do have a bit of a particular method of breeding. So if you did want to get them to breed and try them out, or if you wanted to breed some select of your shoal out and then keep supplementing the display tank, to breed them, you're going to keep them in a shallow tank with warm water, so up on that sort of 28 to I think 78, 80 Fahrenheit, around that range, with some acidic pH, and that's really going to get the spawning going. So just something that you might have to research a little bit further, because they can be a bit particular when it comes to breeding, but it is something that has been done in captivity plenty. This next one on the list is a species of tetra that I actually bred by accident, which is kind of funny. I'd like to do it a bit more, but I don't exactly remember how I did it, so it's proving to be a bit more difficult than the one little one that I made, just by moving them from one tank to another. But it's the Wad-eye tetra, or the blueberry tetra. A really, really beautiful fish. Again, nice medium sort of size, brilliant blues and sort of reddish hues to them. Great activity, pretty not shy like some tetras can be. These guys are quite outgoing, pretty tolerable of a wide variety of parameters. So again, 5.5 to 7.5, anywhere in the 20s in the Celsius, which is basically anywhere in the 70s to low 80s in terms of Fahrenheit. They come from Rio Tapajo in South America. So again, same sort of location as a lot of this list. But yeah, I guess really easy to breed in captivity, because I did it somehow without having any clue what I was doing. So basically feed them in a heavily planted aquarium, and you might find that you've got a couple more. But otherwise, it's the exact same as these other fish. Fine-leafed plants or a spawning mop over a grate, and they'll have more of a non-adhesive egg, so the eggs should fall through, be protected. You can hatch them out by yourself, and then feed some small foods, infusoria and things like that before progressing onto brine shrimp later on down the track. Penultimate species on this list is the Xray Tetra, also known as the Prestella Tetra, and these are really cool because you can basically see right through them. They're called the Xray Tetra because, you know, you can sort of see their insides as if they're going through an X-ray. A particularly good species, I think, to showcase in a display tank, somewhere that non-fish keepers are going to go past and be fascinated, and maybe a good way to draw more people into this awesome hobby that we have here. This species is going to be more of a tank bred species. So with tetras, it'll often be the case that the ones that you buy are wild caught. But Xray tetras are actually really common in the hobby and a nice easier one to breed. So if you are looking to cut your teeth on a species of tetra to breed, this could be the one for you. They're from the Amazon River Basin again, South America, so a lot of the similar water parameters. 22 to 28, so again, sort of 70 to 82 Fahrenheit, something like that. pH-wise, anywhere from 6 to 7. That's going to be good for these guys. Keep them in a group of 10 to 15, 20 is probably even better, in at least a 30 gallon, I'd say. I think a 30 gallon's like a 3 foot or 90 centimeter tank. And up. A nice planted tank is going to be great, and yeah, you'll see some great activity and a nice unique looking fish. And the last one I've decided to showcase on this list is the lemon tetra. Again, a nice easily bred in captivity tetra, beautiful yellow coloration contrasting well with their red eye, and a nice size to them. Also from the Tapajos River in Brazil, South America, a super hardy nice egg scatterer. So they're gonna eat pretty much anything, survive within anywhere between mid 5s to 7 pH, temperature anywhere in the 20s or in the 70s to low 80s in Fahrenheit. And again, they're going to spawn within Java moss and things like that. However, they prefer to do it at the bottom of the tank. So definitely not one that's going to put the eggs under the broader leaves like I mentioned earlier. They're just going to be more of a substrate spawner within some medium. So again, should really be easy to breed within a container of marbles or something with a grate over it so that the eggs can naturally fall down and you can then hatch them up artificially later on. Again, a really cheap and affordable fish that you can find, you know, even at some big box stores, you should be able to find some lemon tetras. But again, one I just think is often passed over when they deserve a bit of a spotlight every now and then. So I definitely recommend picking up some lemon tetras and giving them a go. So there you go, guys. It's good to be back with another video. Hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully I can get back to some more consistency moving forward. I'm going to get back to basics for a little while just so that I can get back into the swing of things. So if you like these types of videos, there's another one right there for you to enjoy. Other than that, happy fish keeping. All the best with it. And if you've got another species that you think that I forgot about, drop it down below to share it with anybody else that might be watching in the future. Other than that, it always helps me out to smash like, hit subscribe and all that fun stuff. And I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.